distinguished professionals, IT professionals, youth of Pakistan and future of Pakistan. First of all, I would like to compliment Mr. Saleem Ghauri for a great success story which he has created. And I was just commenting on his presentation that people like you, his team, Netsol, you are the true ambassadors of Pakistan. The ambassadors of Pakistan are not the diplomatic corps. It is professionals like you who engage with outside world and give them a positive image of Pakistan. Before I invite Mr. Nawaz Sharif, I have stood up here to share some thoughts with you, because one of the questions I am asked by most of the youth, one of the irony of today's demographic change is majority of the youth is a post-99 generation, and they are not aware of what was happening before 99, and oftentimes they are misguided or they are carried by some misperceptions. And one of the questions which I have to answer most of the times is that why an educated person like you is in PMLN. And I think this is the biggest ignorance. Those who ask this question do not know what is PMLN and what is PMLN all about and what is the vision and leadership of Mr. Nawaz Sharif. And therefore I think that someone who is a professional himself, I am an engineer, I have a management education, and I have been part of consulting industry. I must also share some thoughts with the youth of Pakistan that how I see where we are and where we ought to go and what is the leadership with whom I have worked and I am committed to working. As you all know, in 90s, Pakistan was one of the countries in Asia which was just struggling to find a place for itself. And in 1991, a change took place. Mr. Nawaz Sharif was voted into power, and with one stroke of pen, his government was able to implement very far-reaching economic reforms. When I applied for my admission to United States in 1983, I remember to get a $20 draft made from State Bank. Virtually, I had to sweat like hell. It was a very difficult thing to get that $20 or $40 draft made from State Bank and then remit it to the universities in the United States. With one stroke of pen, he removed all restrictions on movement of foreign currency, and Pakistan's economy was open. Even though the bureaucrats resisted, the economy was deregulated, was liberalized and privatized. And it became a miracle for those who thought that this inertia of past 50 years can never be broken. And it became such a success that Mr. Narasimha Rao, who was Prime Minister of India, met Mr. Nawaz Sharif and said that, would you mind if I ask my Finance Minister, Mr. Mohan Singh, to meet your Finance Minister, Mr. Sartaj Aziz, and if he would share how he was able to implement these economic reforms under your leadership, because India would also like to implement the same reforms. So Pakistan was leading the economic reform in South Asia. We were the leaders. India was following us. Then in 90s, when we initiated motorway project, in India, they still do not have a single motorway, and probably nobody knew the spelling of motorway in India at that time. In 90s, when we laid down fiber optic cable, Pakistan was the first country west of Singapore and Hong Kong to have the fiber optic cable laid, which today forms the backbone of telecommunication and information technology industry in Pakistan. But we have not given up our hopes. We still believe that if everything is lost, future still remains. And that is what has brought Mr. Nawaz Sharif to you. We want to build Pakistan into a progressive, modern economy. And my fellow youth, why I am with him? Because he is the first leader of Pakistan who understood the power of economic strength for a nation. Today, economies decide the prosperity, economies decide the sovereignty, economy alone decides your national power. Within 2 to 3 years, those banks which were sinking, they were all on their feet, and later on, because of that restructuring, they were privatized, and today you see that we have very healthy financial sector. So it is not the intentions which bring change. The world has never been short of people with good intentions. Actually, when people were killing each other in Second World War, even at that time there was no shortage of peace-loving people. There were many peace-loving, good-meaning people in the world. But millions of people died in Second World War. It is the political economy. It is the practical knowledge of any system which helps you bring about change. So vision, political will, and as Mr. Ghauri is a witness, he alone would not have been able to create this miracle. He owes his success to the team. You all are part of his team. So any leader cannot bring any change by himself. Any leader who will bring change has to have a team. And a team which is competent, which has the experience and understanding. Because if you look at all the change agents in the history of humankind, from Hazrat Adam alayhi salam till today, who started as a finance minister in Punjab, who served 2 tenures as chief minister of Punjab, who served 2 short, incomplete 2-year terms as prime minister, and in those 2-year brief terms, he was able to change the direction of this country, and who also took a principled stand for his struggle for democracy. And all that experience has given us today in his person a ripe leader to lead Pakistan